I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins that we do.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed.
A child shall lead them to buy our merch. You guys, it's been a long time coming, but Seven Dusted is back for another badass stream.
Yes,
I assume it's going to be badass because it's dusted, but who knows? We've passed out 3.5 for some people before. Okay, so the first song on his look, where's the put the icon?
He's coming.
He said he picked that icon because we're gonna have to think.
The incredible thinking man.
Yes, the thinking mode. Okay, so the first song, this is a little bit interesting because he put Live Operation Spirit.
Yeah, Live is the name of the band.
And the name of the song is Operation Spirit?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Also looks like the name of the band might be Operation Spirit and that the name of the song is The Tyranny of Tradition. So, but I see Live here.
Correct.
Okay, well, whatever.
That's because Live is the name of the band. I believe.
All right.
All right, dear listener, here we go. Into song number 1, getting straight to business. This is a Seven Dusted stream.
The
Live.
man, the myth, the legend has to get up tomorrow at 3 a.m., so we're not messing around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he on East Coast time?
I don't know.
All right, let's go. Song number 1, let's do it.
Hey, that's familiar.
like the dude from what's that grunge band? Pearl Jam. Didn't that sound like the dude from Pearl Jam?
You know, kind of, yeah.
He almost had like the exact same vocal style.
I thought that his vocal style sounded older than he was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a hype song, I think. It makes you feel like energetic, and watching them jump all around. But it could be because of how I feel about teenagers. I like them and they annoy me simultaneously. They never used to really annoy me, but they do now. But I still like them. I still like them. They make me laugh. They do weird and strange things. But you know how like he was jumping, like he was like swinging in the tree and like all that stuff.
Yeah, what they say, it's always summer. Yeah, somebody's gonna be like,
fun.
yo, that was a band Eddie Vedder was in before Pearl Jam or whatever. I don't know, they were in a couple bands with each other before.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really like that vocal style. Man.
Yeah, and you know what's
crazy.
weird?
Subject matter was interesting too. Go ahead.
There was like a lot of like repetitive vocals.
Yes.
But it didn't like feel that way. Like it still felt, I liked it. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like, wow, okay, we're still saying the same line, even though 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Did you give it up? Yeah.
Looks like 30. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like 36 times they said it.
Yeah, it's like the vast majority.
Yeah.
The song is.
Yeah.
Is asking that question, which seems to be the theme of the song. What did you get out of the lyrics?
I don't know. I actually didn't catch all of them. I did get. Did you give it up?
He's going back and forth between reconciling himself to his experiences and his attempts at spirituality.
I did hear the part about Jesus.
That's the closest I could come to it. So it says, "Did you give it up?" And then it starts in verse 1. Heard a lot of talk about the ocean. Heard a lot of talk about the sea. Now I heard a lot of talk about a lot of things. Never meant that much to me. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Because this band they're like a 90s band, right?
That looked like it to me as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe folks are getting more environmentally conscious or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But he is not. Like, it looks like he's just saying, yeah, I don't really, that's not really moving me. Then it goes to the next verse, and the name of the song is, scroll up again. The name of the song is Operation Spirit. So if you go to the next verse, it says, heard a lot of talk about my spirit, heard a lot of talk about my soul. But I decided that anxiety and pain were better friends, so I let it go.
Oh no, okay.
So, again, it just looks like he's dealing with spirituality. He's trying to get to some sort of spirituality.
Yeah, but did you see the next line? Did you let it go? Did you let it go? Did you let it go, my friend? Let's get it back. Let's get it back together. Yeah, woo.
Right. So that's what
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He's going
back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like he's going back and forth between spirituality and experience and science and everybody. It looks like everybody else around him has like found some cause, whether it's the ocean or it's spirituality. Mm-hmm. But he's stuck in this place. But the people around him are starting to, whatever. Which must be a really difficult. Go ahead.
I like this part, like, heard a lot of talk about this Jesus, a man of love, a man of strength. But when a man was 2,000 years ago means nothing at all to me today. Yeah. And one thing I heard Jordan Peterson was talking about, and I'm sure that there's a name for it that I don't remember, but basically, like, the most quoted works of all time are the most he said it so much more smoothly, but basically he was saying if something has like a lot of utility and a lot of value to it, it's going to get repeated over and over. And so the works throughout history that are repeated the most times, when you bring that back to its original source, he said that it's actually the Bible, and it's influenced so much language. And it's influenced, like phrases within language. You mean, you were just watching a sports thing and he was like, maybe they should give him an olive branch.
Right.
And obviously that has its roots in the story of the flood. And
we were watching a cartoon with the kids and the main character was a wolf. Mm-hmm. But then when he wanted to disguise, he used sheep's clothing.
Right. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah. So there's like a lot of different phrases that are used throughout. So I kind of like that. Like, I think that I could totally see where somebody would be like, this guy was like 2,000 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't just he himself, but it was a lot of what he said and how much wisdom was packed into so little of a phrase. And the way that I've brought this up before, but I came up as a Christian, and whenever I heard them talking about turn the other cheek, I felt like it was a good platitude, like it's a good thing to do. Good and that suggestion. I never felt like the Bible was a suggestion. I felt like you had to do it because it's the Bible, but not because it's absolutely necessary for a certain purpose. So to me, it was just, you're a Christian and that's why you should turn the other cheek. So Jesus said you should do it, so you should do it, and that's the end of it. But then I actually saw it in action with you because we were down in this park and something happened, some racial tension started, and some girl got beaten up. And so that it started this whole big thing. And it was a weird situation because it was like, if I remember the situation correctly, there was like a couple of like white people that were picking up trash
they got
around the park.
We have an immigrant population around here, so they got jumped by a bunch of the Somali immigrants.
Well, prior to that, I don't know if this is true.
There was a verbal altercation.
Well, I just thought it was an interesting happenstance, is why I wanted to say it. So apparently there was like people that were not white, and they said
people that were not white.
They said, "Yeah, pick up our trash, you slaves," or something. And then that made the white people very angry, which I thought was very interesting. And so it started like something, and then there was this sort of like, we jump you, you're jumping us, like the groups were like kind of battling back and forth when they would get kind of by themselves or whatever. But it turned into like this big, like kind of, well, I don't want to say gang war, but that is kind of what it was. There was two big groups of people that came together, and they all had stuff on them, and they were going to go to war. And so Vin made me super angry, and he was like, you got to take everybody and bring them back to the safe spot, which I didn't want to do because I like being in the middle of action.
It made you angry because I wanted you and the kids protected.
Yeah, well, we weren't together, so...
Yeah, no, we weren't together, but...
It annoyed me. But he was like, I just need you to make sure that everybody... So we were both like pretty strong leaders in the group. So I got all the people and I brought them down to safety. But I really want to see what was going to happen. So anyway, so Vin goes and he talks to the guy, which I'll let you do your own talking on that. But he goes and he talks to the guy and... Well, you want to say?
No, go ahead.
And basically... You know, he's talking to he figures out who the leader is, and he pulls the leader off, and he's like, look, he said, if you guys start this fight today, obviously there are weaker ones amongst you that are going to get hurt or even killed. So you're going to lose some of your people. There's also some people that are not really wanting to fight, but they're here because they're part of your crew. And what's going to end up happening is, even if you win today, within the next X amount of time, when that crew that lost sees your people out by themselves, because you're obviously not going to stay in a crew the whole time, then they're going to pick you guys off, and more people are going to get hurt. More people are going to get killed. And so he was talking about Jesus's, not suggestion, but the idea that Jesus brought, that we should turn the other cheek, and that's how to stop violence. And so it's not like you're like afraid. It's like, okay, if I go in for more violence, violence begets violence. More violence is going to come from this. And so it was the first time, and the guy listened. The guy was like, you know, he agreed. He understood where you were coming from. He could see a lot of the points that you were making.
Yeah, he listened.
And it got squashed, you know, and nothing happened. Like, no, they didn't fight that day, and there was it wasn't like it happened the next week or the week after either. In fact, years went by, and we were no longer doing that ministry over there. And then there was some big thing, but there was nobody there to be like, yo, turn the other cheek, and people died.
Yeah.
So
folks died.
Yeah, so it was just, for me, because I had heard this idea of turn the other cheek and only thinking that it was like a good idea, but like something, I thought it was like an act of self-control, not that it was anything more than that, which it is an act of self-control. But on top of that, that's how you save lives, and that's how you end violence. And then seeing it in action with like you, because you're not a bitch, and I've never felt like you were. So when you were saying it, I was like, this is really interesting. Like, he's not just saying it because Jesus said it and it's a good it's a good thing. Like, it was like you believed in it. Like, this is the only way to stop this.
Yeah.
And then that guy who has nothing to do with the religion either was like totally, yeah. He was like, he could see where it was going.
It's fascinating to me that, because a lot of times when you think about religious leaders or religion, you kind of get this philosophical monk that goes off in a cave or whatever, and it's all like high, but it's not very practical.
Yeah.
And it's like for your spiritual life, but the practical life, they're completely. So that's one of the things that, as far as like, how do I decide what's true, whatever. One of my checks, because I go through these if you have seasons of doubt or whatever. But one of my checks is, can I live in the real world this way, and does it have unforeseen benefits? Right?
Principles.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like. Does this person's philosophy, A, can I action it in the real world, and B, does it have benefits that even I don't understand, that I didn't see before? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's how, but the way that a lot of us talk about Jesus, so it's like he's this figure from 2,000 years ago, and they don't present Jesus as living and active and working and present themselves as so it does get very philosophical, and if it's just a philosophy, then you might as well just leave it.
Yeah.
In 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's why I said if it's just a philosophy, because there's obviously philosophical underpinnings to Christianity, but it's not just that. It's also very, very, very practical shit you can do on a Tuesday at 5:30.
Right.
But I also understand the struggle, though, man. Like, I understand, like, the back and forth, and it looks like he's trying to come full circle, you know, because you give up religion, or you give up spirituality, you give up faith, and then you go, okay, I'm going to adopt this new paradigm and try to live that way. But there's a lot of gaps in atheism and secularism. I'm not saying that there aren't problems in Christianity, you know, predestination, free will, whatever. I'm just saying there's certain gaps that are unforeseen, that when you hit a certain age point, then you start looking backwards and going, what am I doing here? And it's a very confusing time. So, and I think that's why he kept asking that question. He said it like 30 times in the song, because it's like,
did you give it up?
Yeah, is he going to give it up? But you see at the end of the song, his goal is actually try to make it full circle and get back to the center. So I just thought it was brilliant writing. To your point, it was repetitive, but it actually worked this time, oddly enough. I really strong opening. What'd you give it?
Yeah, I'm actually giving this one a 9.8, and I will say that if I was like in the music arena when this came out, like if I was a teenager when this came out, I mean, perhaps I was, but because we didn't have music, I have no clue. I would have really, really vibed to this song. I would have really liked this. This to me, even though like I could picture it being like were they on a beach?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you know, like on a beach, having a little beach party, and then on comes the song. You know what I mean? Like I really liked it. So 9.8 for me.
Yeah, 9.8 for me as well.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Wow.
I love the vocal style. I really, really do, and I like the energy too.
All right.
There you are, dear listener. We've got more songs on the way. Stay where you are. Dig out.
Sorry, out.
Down.
Funny, there was so little lyrics.
I know. And I usually don't like that stuff, but that one, I don't know.
Yeah, it worked.
Commercial break, bitches. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
Yes, to buy our merch.
Dear listener, we are in the midst of a stream DJ'd by the big homie and my personal friend, DJ7. Trust me, dear listener, that does not go into the scoring. As a matter of fact, I'd much rather score 7 songs all low because he was cheering for the Rams against the great. And did you see the nerve of this guy?
Oh no!
During the Super Bowl, he was my buddy. He's the only one that was talking to me in the village during the Super Bowl. So I texted back and forth. We got into another Brady argument. And I said, "Son of awesome up there," and he always says the most ridiculous stuff about Brady, and then I always get mad, and he's like, "Hey, man, hey." He knows how I feel about Tom.
I know. He's like, maybe we could name the kid Tom. I'm like, I'm not naming my son Tom. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
No offense to anyone by the name of Tom. It's the name of the past.
What happened?
I said it's a name of the past. All right, up next on our 7 Dusted stream is Jesus Jones, right here, right now.
Okay, right here, right now, by the big homie Jesus Jones, from the Blasphemer in Chief. 7 Dusted, dear listener. 7 Dusted. Let's go! Switch this.
Already passed her by. Bob Dylan
Nope. I've only heard right here, right now.
Right
Wow. I really like, okay, so that
was the jam.
I've heard the part, the right here, right now part before, and I don't know where I've heard it, but Dustin was saying that this was about the Berlin Wall when it came down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had to like stop thinking about it because it was such like an upbeat song, and I was thinking, man, like when they make a song when abortion stops and that's done, that's a thing of the past. You know, when he says, oh, I saw the decade in when it seemed the world could change at the blink of an eye. If anything, then there's your sign of the times. Like when something big like that happens in your time, it must feel like, because you didn't feel the struggle before it. You know what I mean? Like the generations that.
Well, so I remember that we had a guest speaker. It was we were at a Christian school. We had a guest speaker, and the guest speaker was speaking about communism, the evils of communism, yada, yada, yada. And he reached into his pocket, he pulled out this rock. He said, this rock is really a piece of the Berlin Wall. I mean, the whole place went crazy. I didn't have enough context, though, to understand geopolitically what was happening, because in our evangelical circle, this was a sign of the end of the world or something. I don't know how. I don't know how the fall of the Berlin Wall was going to result in the Antichrist or whatever. But that was the big thing I was hearing at the time.
Really? So that when he said that, the sign of the time or something like that.
Yeah.
Then there's your sign of the times. So you think that that's what he was referencing? The people that thought it was a.
I mean, I don't know. I just remember when that happened, man. That was a big thing. Like, oh, Jesus is going to show up, blah, blah, blah. Russia, you know, because the whole thing was Russia. I mean, it is a really ironic song considering what's currently happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
Because part of the way that we convinced Mr. Gorbachev and the rest of those folks to tear down the wall was that we promised them we wouldn't expand NATO eastward. So the Russians said, fine, tear down the wall as long as you guys aren't going to go back on your word and bring NATO vehicles and tanks and trained to our borders. Oh, no, we won't do that. We won't do that. And we've done it like, I don't know, 12 times since then, 14 times. And
14, I think, yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's just a very ironic song considering, you know, I can't believe it, but we're back here again talking about conflicts with Russia. And like, aside from quote whose side you're on, which is a very interesting phrase because there's definitely a specific side the media wants you to be on, as if there's a pure, you know, good guy, bad guy in this situation.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
Whatever you believe, I just think it's really sad and regressive.
Yeah.
That not even the beefs that our parents were worried about, because the boomer generation wasn't really worried about Russia like that. But the previous, our grandparents, like we're back to this Russophobic, McCarthyist shit that our grandparents were dealing with, and now we're dealing with it again. Like anything Russian is, it's just like, man, it's a real interesting commentary on human beings. I'll tell you what. So a woman on the radio was talking about revolution when it's already passed her by. Bob Dylan didn't have this to sing about. You know it feels good to be alive. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now, there's no other place I want to be. Watching the world wake up from history. There was a sort of like the possibilities are endless type feeling in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we made it to the moon and all that stuff must have been like, okay, anything's possible now. See, I wouldn't really know about that energy or that feeling. Like I felt like when I was 15 and I started carrying around a cell phone, and that was like, you know, people were not carrying. I was born in 85, so it was 2000, and then I was carrying a cell phone, and nobody else had cell phones. It was so, like, basically you were calling people's house phones. That was a pretty crazy feeling. And when, like, you were so used to the big giant computers, and then it went to like thinner things.
Yeah.
That was like, it was like, okay, where are we gonna go from here?
And then the AOL, you've got mail. That was like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wasn't like, we couldn't be on the internet, but I remember feeling the excitement of.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's one of those things where you witness all this societal upheaval and all these conflicts, and then you finally get a win. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it was very, very symbolic. It's like, look, the grip that the Soviet Union has, yada, yada, yada. We're going to enter into some era of peace and all this because, you know, you had nuclear powers that were, people were really serious, man. The Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, shit was really crazy. You remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? You know, when the Russians donated out of the kindness of their heart a bunch of ICBMs to Cuba, which Cuba is an island 90 miles away from us, and we threatened to create World War III. We didn't say, Cuba's a sovereign nation. They can have as many ICBMs as they want. Mm-hmm. We said, you better turn around. We would never put anybody else in such a situation. Never put somebody in that situation. Oh my goodness gracious, America.
I thought that the civil rights movement and stuff, like I thought that was probably one of these moments because I really thought that once like I thought that it ended, like once segregation was done with. And like I thought that all that stuff ended. So in that sense, I would have been like, oh, because I remember thinking, wow, like when you have the people from the past that are dead set in their ways, and then you have the people from the future that are completely changed, but at some point they overlap each other. Mm-hmm. And so the change happens right there. So these people are unhappy and these people are like, this has to happen. And so then the change happens. And I thought that the change was like drastic. You know what I mean? Like everybody was like, even the older was seeing it differently and stuff like that. I didn't realize that stuff kind of carried on for so long,
yeah,
you know?
The other thing is that I think it's pretty safe to say now that anytime human beings get into power, they're going to skew towards totalitarianism and tyranny. So what we've just witnessed with this whole Twitter situation, like social media is a perfect example.
Okay.
I have an ideology. If you say something contrary to that ideology, I'm just going to deplatform you. Period. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's one of those things where there are certain movements that are always going to happen. I think one is the anti-war movement, and the other is the efforts people have on the left and the right to limit government power and control. Mm-hmm. Like those are the lessons that we've got to learn. Mm-hmm. But what happens is we become so dependent on the government to bail everything out that they're not thinking about how to hold the government accountable.
Right.
So the government keeps like doing these little things here and here and here and distracting you. That's why I like this whole Elon buying Twitter thing. I'm like, yeah, man, but I still feel like we need a Bill of Rights. And what's really crazy is that now you got Hillary and stuff alluding to now they're talking about creating these structures around social media to limit certain content, you know, government control stuff. I mean, it's bananas, but it's kind of messed up listening to this song because he's celebrating all this like greatness. You know what I'm saying? All these great things, the Berlin Wall, just progress in general. Yeah. And then to find out that, but 20 years later, however it is, more than 20 years, 30 years later, here we are, we're still talking about beef with Russia, nuclear holocaust, whole 9 yards, and it's kind of like a gut punch, like, damn.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Seven was saying, like, when the wall came down, it's like, wow, this was so important to Americans because it's like, this is really symbolic of the end of these tensions.
But it wasn't.
But, well, it was and it wasn't in the sense that generation wasn't hiding under their desk and doing these nuke drills that the previous generation was. But while that was happening, we were slowly eating up more Eastern European countries and jumping on to the border of Russia. Mm-hmm. But we just kind of like expanded it out over 30 years of this constant land eating and provocation and all the rest of it. So it's just really, really interesting situation we're in right now. Like,
Yeah.
if you're a believer in humanity and like where we're going, it's kind of like a giant like. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
My mic is acting all weird again.
Oh God. Okay.
Go ahead. What do you give it?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Jeez, I really enjoyed it. A 9. I enjoyed it. It's a 9. Like I said, if I lived during the time and was conscious of some change in history, the song would be even higher.
Yeah, this song is a 10 for me because it's just a classic. Yeah,
I can totally see that.
I feel like this song is like an undeniable classic. It definitely gave me some nostalgic feelings as well. Because I remember there was some commercial or something in the 90s.
Yeah, something.
Theme song. I think it was my Pepsi commercial, actually. Anyway, I don't know. I don't care. Anyway.
Queensryche is next, you bitches.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm very excited for this one. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go.
We'll be right back.
Hey, is that Revo
right
back?
back.
Twitter can't stand. They can't stop you, Pastor Steven. What's up, Lisa Fernandez? Commercial break. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them. Speaking of being led, we are in the midst of a DJ7 stream.
Yes.
Stream.
Up next is Queensryche NM156.
NM156. This is the most anticipated song on the list for me.
Really?
Yep. Don't disappoint me, Queensryche. Let's go.
Machines have no conscience.
Uniform printout reads end of line. Protect code and tag needs little time. Erratic survey, free thinking not allowed.
Oh boy.
My handshake, my push button, silence the outside.
World governments allow our war among nations. Now, social control requires population termination.
We come to fight. that I enter code. White eyes watch my number 156 is shown.
Created from past life to perform illicit function. I failed this conscious madness. I, man-machine, imperfection.
Now we come to fall and turn around. There's emotion for the key. Is logic just a synonym for this savagery? Disguised in forgotten false memories.
Whoa. I love that tone on the guitar.
Now we come to fall and turn around. There's emotion for the key. Is logic just a synonym for this savagery? Disguised in forgotten false
That was some sci-fi. That was from The Warning.
Yeah. Okay,
First of all,
What?
I know we're gonna get into the lyrics because they're interesting, but
Yeah.
holy shit, that guitar solo.
You liked it? You enjoyed?
I
You're a fan?
I'm not sure, but this may be my solo of the year so far.
What?
That solo was insane. The
Solo
tone-
of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's still April, but that tone on that solo was insane. I loved that shit. It was
Wow.
really good tone.
Okay, do you want more Red Bull?
And it, yeah, sure. Of course, you can speak of food at a time like this when we're celebrating guitar goodness.
That's a drink, actually.
I don't know who the guitarist is in that band, but holy smoke, here's Amy Lee. Not really a fan.
I know, I just read it.
Of
That's why I
male
was laughing.
high-pitched vocals. So she complains about barfy vocals, and then she complains about
You just don't like
opera-level
men.
vocals.
You just
What
don't
a
like
horrible
men.
person. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so growing up, I thought aliens were a complete joke. There was no such thing, and there never could be. And I thought people were weird for even considering it. But I thought artificial intelligence was very possible. So that was where I got my, like, ooh, wouldn't that be interesting? And I can't remember what the lamb's name was. Do you remember when they first cloned a lamb?
Was it Lucy?
I thought it was Molly, but probably Lucy. That to me was bonkers. I couldn't believe it. I was like, they cloned a lamb. And then it
Did you think
stopped.
it was bonkers good or bonkers bad?
Oh, bonkers good until then everybody started fear-mongering. Everybody was like, well, what if they clone a person? And what if they have no soul? And what if they're... And so then you're like picturing like these soulless people walking around. And then like you start thinking like, some people you've met were really weird. They're like almost soulless.
Well, no disrespect to the homie, but I don't know. Have you ever seen Mark Zuckerberg talk?
I probably have, but...
The guy from Facebook? Holy shit, that guy.
Yes! Oh, yeah, he even looks kind of like a...
Yeah, like that whole like reptilian thing.
I'm
or
pretty
whatever,
sure...
like,
Okay,
yeah.
Mark, I gotta see so I know because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's
yes,
weird, bro.
Exactly. When I saw
I feel
him,
bad saying it like that.
no,
but
when
dude
I
is
saw him, I
like-
thought the same thing. I was like, whoa, that guy looks like.
his mannerisms are so strange, bro.
Yeah, and he looks like fake. His mannerisms
Yeah.
are very like the way. This is so bad. The way that his skin is stretched over his face, it looks like it. Sometimes, like, look right here.
Oh yeah, I know.
It
I
kinda
don't wanna
rem-
make fun of him. Like, I
It
feel
kind of
terrible,
reminded
but
me of.
He's kind of like a living android.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of. Do you remember Men in Black?
Yeah.
Do you remember when the alien he goes after that guy that's like he's a real jerk and he goes outside, the alien lands and the skinny little wife comes out. She's like, Earl, what is it? And he was like, get your big butt back in the house. So you really hate the guy because and then the alien like takes him in and like sucks out his insides and like puts on his skin. It looks very bizarre.
That's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark
Shout out
is
to the
one of
homie.
lizard- He's one of the lizard people.
Shout out to the homie. But anyway, yeah. So I thought that was like a possibility. And I still to this day really like watching like that type of sci-fi. Like when you
What type of sci-fi?
when you watch like the alien documentaries, I'm like curious about it.
Yeah.
But like I like watching artificial intelligence, robot stories.
Well, one of the things that you said though was about the aliens. So
Yeah.
you started off talking about the aliens. I was like, oh, maybe she thinks it's aliens instead of like a cyborg android type situation.
No, I didn't think so.
This is funny though. Uniform printout reads end of line. Protect code intact. Leave little time. Erratic surveys. Free thinking not allowed. My handshake. My push button silence the outside crowd.
Yeah.
But didn't it say something at the very, very beginning?
Machines have no conscience.
There it is. It says one world government. There it is.
Oh no!
One world government has outlawed war among the nations. Now social control requires population termination. So it's like, it's very, very ironic because
Yeah.
it's like war is disallowed.
Yeah, but the one world government.
Yeah, but in order to make sure that we never have war, you can't have free thought. And then in order the maximum sort of level of free thought closure is killing people. Mm-hmm. So you end
interesting.
up,
This
you
song
end up
and this
killing people in order to avoid war,
Yeah.
right? So then you say, well, why would we want to avoid war then if we're going to end up dead? And the answer is, well, you want to avoid war because people die in war.
Wait a
You
minute.
know, yeah, but you're killing all these people. And then somebody comes along and says, it's almost like you're using the war as a pretext to control me. It almost seems like your value is control and not being against war.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so like if you look at these news outlets, they're like, oh, we want to preserve democracy. And so what's their solution for preserving democracy? Is limiting people's speech.
They
So it's
literally were saying that yesterday. I
like-
couldn't even believe it. I was like, wait, what?
It's like, well, why do we want a democracy? Well, you want a democracy because you want to live in a government that's controlled for and by the people. So you don't want to be controlled by the government. That's why you want to live in a democracy where the government serves the people, not the other way around. But then, in order for that to happen, you have to follow everything we say the way we say it under our thumb. And then you go, well, wait a second. Now I'm starting to think that democracy isn't your goal. It's almost as if you're using democracy to control me.
Very interesting.
So, like,
Wow.
that
The song was written in 1983, kind of prophetic and historically accurate.
yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. These songs. These songs.
Yeah.
And honestly, we almost had a real life situation of this with Gonzalo Lira, where they were trying to keep him quiet from telling the truth as he saw it. So our media outlet, the Daily Beast, alerts the Ukrainian military, Ukrainian Secret Service, to go find this guy.
Yeah.
And he almost ends up dead. Bless God, he was an American. Because if he wasn't, he'd have been that'd have been the end of the homie.
For sure.
I mean, to be where we are right now is I to be honest with you, like, I'm the most confused about people I've ever been in my entire life.
Oh, really?
I'm so confused. Like, on the one hand, Trump was this horrible person. He was a Nazi. And then you have other folks who are telling us that we need to overlook the fact that this group is a Nazi group. Like, people trying to people are trying to convince you not to believe what you see with your own eyes. You know, like that whole Joe Rogan situation with CNN, where when he got COVID, and they edited his face
to make him look green.
They filtered his face to look green and pasty.
It was very weird. Look it up.
It's like it's just so crazy what's happening now. Like,
yeah,
come on, guys. Like, nobody can really believe that that's healthy in a democracy to have people that can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'd think that the democracy would shut down those organizations, like not even by force, but just like everybody as a whole would say, I mean, who has time for fake news? Who has time for these lies? But people, honestly, the more I realize it, people want to hear what they want to hear, and they want people to agree with them, and a lot of times people don't want to be questioned, and they don't want any pushback on their ideas. People will ask a question, like I'll see people ask a question in like certain forums, and when people answer them, if people go along with what they want, then they're very happy with it. If people don't go along with what they want, they blow up on them, and when they get enough people that agree with them, they shut down the comments. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, discussion's over, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's a generational thing. And what happened, like, just like, you know, all of us probably that are like our age, we probably all got like spanked. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I look back at the spanking practice and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, the modern world, it's unthinkable.
It's a little bit weird.
Really
yeah. Drop the pants. Weird. You know what I mean? Like, okay. But then, like, so, like, our generation is like, oh, we're not doing that. But I don't know. Maybe our kids reintroduce spanking. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
maybe we keep going backwards.
Yeah, everything just goes back in circles.
In modern times,
we have to learn to just kind of get in the middle and try to stay there, steady the line.
This right here is terrifying. In modern times, with deep learning AI that can create deepfakes and emulate voices that sound a little too close to the reality, the whole fake news thing is going to get more and more blurry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Literally, I got goosebumps on that. That, honest to goodness, I think of that all the time. I'm like, yeah, how do we know that what we're seeing is what's actually happening?
I know. It's so bad.
Because remember they did, was it who's that guy that does ooh, I can see his face. Tom Cruise. Remember they did like one of those Tom Cruise things?
Yeah, Tom Cruise deepfake thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I'm like, oh my word.
Yeah, but that's the problem with human beings, man. It's sort of like that Icarus principle, right? Where it's like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, we're not mature enough as a species to be given the gift of even discovering cloning, like cloning or transferal of consciousness from one corporeal state to another.
Yeah,
like I don't think we're gonna get there just because we're not mature enough to handle that. Mm-hmm. Because if we were, the scientists who figured out the algorithm to make that shit happen would destroy it immediately. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's the same thing with like the atom, being able to split the atom and all that. Like we're not mature enough to say, yeah, let's not do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like let's not do that because the cost is going to far outweigh the benefit. But that's why, like, I'm hoping we never figure out this technology because we would be disciplined enough not to use it. Mm-hmm. And then that would come with an. Can you imagine, like, do they have rights? Are they the property of the? I mean, God Almighty, that would. Are they the
property of the? Yeah, and then like, who's to say that? Because there was this like AI movie from like a long time back. I can't remember what the name of it was, but maybe it was just called artificial intelligence. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they like created a child that looked like completely human. But obviously, if he ate, he couldn't eat.
Right.
But he looked so human. And then like they had disposal places where they would dispose of the old models, and it was like he ended up getting out of that because he was like crying, and he looked like a real little boy crying because the other ones didn't cry. The other ones didn't care if they were getting destroyed, but he was like, please don't do this to me, don't do this. And he was holding his little bear, you know, so they got him out of there and stuff. But it was a weird sort of like, I mean, what if there were AI that looked like people and they had less rights than people? Like, how long would it be before people lose their papers and become AI, and they say, oh no, that's just AI, we can do whatever the hell we want with her.
Right.
The whole thing's just
or the AI turns around and says, wait a second, I'm a robot. Like, fuck.
I own you, bitch.
Right? Like, and then they would almost inevitably, if they had a robotic body but a human spirit within them, they would absolutely turn around and revolt. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, good night. But that's what it says. It's like it's interesting because it starts off by saying machines have no conscience, and then to me the center point of the song is, does emotion hold the key? So the only difference between one of these androids and a real person would be having a conscience and having an emotion. That's one of the things that to me was so terrifying about Terminator. And it was interesting.
I still have never seen Terminator.
It wasn't until I got. Oh, you did, because we sat and watched it together.
We did? I thought we didn't.
First Terminator. Yeah.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them.
See, there you go, Terminator. Like, honestly, like, that's one of the more terrifying things about Terminator was the fact that this was a machine. Mm-hmm. And you know, you could have the hardest, most terrible ISIS member, whatever. Once in a while, he's going to get a pang of conscience. He's going to see some girl and be like, I can't do this. There's been so many stories where the bad guy soldier, you know, looks the other way and drops an apple for the girl and out of his pack and looks the other way. And, you know, the emotion, you know, because the guy was planning on seeing his enemy with his, you know, clutching his rifle. Instead, he turns around, it's a girl clutching a teddy bear.
Yeah.
And he goes, I can't do this. Yeah, he drops the apple. But if it's a machine...
Yeah.
And you just tell the machine, look, anything with a blue armband, just light it up. There's no chance for any mercy. There's no chance for any of that.
No, that's true, yeah.
That's what was terrifying to me about Terminator, because this dude is just stalking this woman, and, like, he has no chill, no patience, no nothing.
Yes, I do remember it now, yeah.
There's no mercy that can be appealed to. It's just, grah. Horrible situation. Yeah, she's actually never seen Terminator 2. We'll probably...
No.
I meant to watch Terminator and then Terminator 2 the subsequent night, but then distractions happened, I think.
And as you can see, I initially thought I'd never watched it, so I may have forgot some of it. I do remember that scene, like they're on like a conveyor belt, they're in this like shop, and he's like going after her and stuff. Oh
yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so sonically, I wasn't... It's so funny because you were like, this is like could be the one for the year of the breakdown. I was like, as far as what it sounded like. So it's a 7.6 for me.
This is a solid 9.4 for me. That solo, the tone on that solo was crazy. The vocals were crazy, and the lyrical, because he texted me, he's like, "Yo, you're gonna be thinking about this one. This is another one where there's a lot of stuff to work through with this one, but we'll be here for 58 million hours. I don't expect this time." Okay, there you are, dear listener.
Oh my goodness.
We have more goodness coming for you.
Ozzy Osbourne. Thank God for the bomb.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Thank God for the bomb?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Aha. Hi. Oh, we're back. Well, almost. Almost. Oh, your coffee is ready, Franco? Good, good. A little technical difficulties. We're back. Well, Vinny will be back very shortly. In the meantime, prepare yourselves. We've got some... You good? Okay. Ozzy Osbourne next. Whoa.
What? Ozzy?
Yep.
Beautiful dumbass. Oh boy. Who's a beautiful dumbass?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So we've got...
Thank God for the bomb. Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, let's play a game. Say a word that best describes Sori and worst Vin. So I'm beautiful and you're dumbass.
Oh, all right.
That's
Here we
nice.
go. Thank you for that. Thank God for the bomb. Ozzy Osbourne. Let's go.
Oh, that's so weird. What?
Like moths to a flame, is that never gonna change? Time seeing untold depression, an infliction of pain. If that's the only
my gosh.
Apparently, you and Mojo have some discussion on the side there, Soraya.
About what? About what?
Sent you an email about an idea, apparently.
Did you now? When did you send it? Because I responded to all my emails today.
Thank God for the bomb.
Oh, wait.
It's such a weird
No,
course.
you know what it is? Because he comes through. So I keep forgetting that's who you are. I have you as your actual name, not Mojo. I'm sure that's not what your mother named you. Here comes Mojo. All right.
Like moths to a flame, is man ever gonna change? Time's seen untold aggression and infliction of pain.
Yeah, yikes.
If
Okay.
that's the only thing that's stopping war, then thank God for the bomb. That's an interesting question. Is man ever gonna change? I forgot what the stat was, but since 1776, our country has only been at peace for 8 years, something like that. Some crazy stat.
Word.
It is very interesting how drawn humanity seems to war. It's just a very fascinating.
I don't
thing
know
to me.
that if it's so much being drawn to war or if war is just what happens as a result of our fear and selfishness.
Yeah, but to Steven's point, the proliferation of nuclear weapons in some cases functions as a deterrent to war. So
Yes. Yes.
I'm convinced right now we would be in Ukraine right now if the Russians didn't have nukes. I believe
think
that.
so?
I believe we'd have sent the
You're
conventional-
probably right.
I believe we'd have pulled all those folks out of Afghanistan, told them to take a hot chocolate, and then
You're probably
rock
right.
back up there and get to the border of Ukraine. I really
Yeah.
believe that. But it's the fact that Russia has nuclear weapons that makes it so we don't do that.
Yeah.
Which is why we're using the Ukrainians as cannon fodder. If you didn't understand why our government is not doing anything to de-escalate this war, but doing everything they can to escalate the war and continue to have, Biden just sent another $2 billion apparently. So because of the bomb, we can't directly go to Russia and do what we would want to do.
Yeah.
So now we're just using the Ukrainians to just bleed out the Russians in this entire conflict. It's unbelievable
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
It's so unconscionable, all the lives that are being ruined just so that our empire can expand its footprint
I know.
and gain more control. Because, look, believe what you want about this conflict, but I'll tell you, we keep benefiting over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Pipelines, resources, all that jazz.
Yep.
Weakened Russia. And it's insane because I probably should do a Middle America about this, but they literally came out and said, our strategy is to weaken Russia. That was in mainstream media this morning.
Yep.
So, these guys are not even hiding
Yep.
it anymore. But it's such a horrible, horrible eventuality we're in. Dusted says, without question, we'd be fighting Putin without nukes. I'd be learning Ukrainian as we speak and deployed already. Correct.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, all the death and destruction that a nuke brings, but in reality, it probably saved more lives because of the principle of deterrence. I'm not sure that we get out of the late 50s, early 60s without some sort of real serious jihad with Russia. And a person could argue that Vietnam, to a degree, was our war with Russia.
Yeah.
But again, the Viet Cong didn't have nukes. If the Viet Cong would have had nukes, we would have never sent our boys over there. So it's a weird,
Yeah, it's really weird.
weird dichotomy about the evils of nuclear proliferation.
Yeah.
But in reality, if we gave nukes to every major country on the planet, then you would almost ensure that there could never be another world war. The problem is that if you give it to a guy who has a kind of suicidal, I don't know if you remember this, but one time the Indians and the Pakistanis were going at it over the
I
Kashmir
feel
Valley.
come on.
Over the Kashmir Valley, and the Indians told the Pakistanis, "Look, we're called the subcontinent. we can afford to lose a couple million people. Like it was like
Yeah, but
getting really, really crazy.
I mean, in Islam, if you die kamikaze style or whatever that is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's good, and you're getting straight in there.
Shaheed.
So
Yeah.
if they basically sent out a message, you know what I mean, to like all of them, be like, look, do your shahada because
Yeah.
on X and Y Z we're blowing everybody out, blowing up the whole planet.
Yeah.
And we're going straight to Allah. Like you could. That doesn't really work if everybody has it when you have somebody that has, you know,
somebody that has
a suicide mission like that.
Somebody that has a mentality of where mutual assured destruction would be
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. You're right. which essentially is what the Pakistanis responded to the Indians with.
Really?
Yeah, because they're a majority Muslim country. Mm-hmm. So like we'll be shahad. So, I mean it's a really crazy, terrible kind of situation to be in. For sure. For sure.
But I see what you're saying. You know, if you eliminate those people out of it. But then you never know when somebody, like, it doesn't make sense for somebody to set off one of those. But at the same time, like, people have been crazy before. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all it takes is somebody that's part psychotic. Like, maybe they're having an episode.
I mean, listen. I mean, think about this whole corona situation.
Yeah. I mean, that's getting more peculiar by the minute.
Governments playing around with stuff that they knew could was pathogenic, could do what it's doing, and it's dropped a bunch of bodies all over the planet. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, shit is unbelievable. Like the amount of power that so few people have to affect the lives of so many people. It's just absolutely insane. Yeah.
And the other thing that's pretty crazy is that people in that position, the way that they will talk about it. Like when what's his face? I can't think of his name. Kind of baby face guy, Rubio maybe. Who's the one that said carpet bomb him?
Oh, Ted Cruz.
Like, it was like nothing.
Oh yeah, carpet bombing people.
It was like nothing.
Yeah,
like
I know.
And we talked in the song before about maybe emotion is what kind of like pulls you back. But, you know, when we have the capabilities of throwing something over there and we don't have to see the results of it, like a lot more destruction can happen.
Well, I mean, you know, Jimmy talks about this all the time. In the Obama administration, there was a 5-month period where 90% of the drone fatalities were unintended targets, which means that we killed cities at a clip of 9 out of 10 times that we use that technology. So, but Americans, we're some of the most calloused individuals on the planet, man. We'll hear about that shit, and we'll be like, man, that's fucked. And then we'll go to Panera Bread and get ourselves our gourmet sandwich. Like, and look, I'm not saying it to make anybody feel guilty per se. I'm just saying that we are surrounded by so much corruption and death and destruction that it's almost, especially now with the 24-hour news cycle, and then you've got platforms where, you know, they specialize in showing people the worst of, like, you might end up just saying at the end of this, man, thank God for the bomb, and hopefully he nukes us all and start over. What were you going to say?
Well, it maybe seems a little oddly placed now because, you know, conversation went a little bit forward. But, you know, like how when, you know, we've been, like you said, bombing Palestinians, you just said we were 9 out of 10 were civvies.
Yep.
Like, that's really sick and really horrible. And, you know, we were seeing it all over the news. We were seeing it all over the place. And I've been seeing footage of that for a very long time. And I will say that once I had Orion, because Orion is a mixed, that now when I see that, I immediately picture Orion.
Yeah.
Where I only have it's very difficult for me to picture myself in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
But then when all of a sudden, you know, the Ukrainians, you know, we were seeing footage of what was happening over there, and you were seeing, like, you know, white people laid out all over the place. It did make a difference, and I hate that that's the case. Like, I hate that you know, now I'm like, oh my gosh, with the Palestinians now that I have stake in the game. And then I'm like, how many other Americans are like that? Which is probably why so many people reacted with the Ukrainian stuff, was because it was more relatable to them. But I do think that a great disservice has been done to us, that we have divided ourselves up by race, color, or region, rather than recognizing that we're all of the same species.
Right.
And if we realize we're all of the same species, then we don't have to fight over land and resources anymore, because we own the entire planet.
Right.
But I don't know if to me, it seems like let's just throw out there and say, if some alien thing was real, I feel like something like that is what would pull us together. Like, just like we saw on 9/11, like all of a sudden, people are out there with their moods and their attitudes, just 2 weeks ago, some guy, because I wasn't driving fast enough, got out of his car. He's aggressively coming over to me, screaming and hollering at me. That doesn't happen after a 9/11 and we all survive. All of a sudden,
I don't care how hokey it was. It was awesome being an American, living in America
during that time. Yeah.
After 9/11.
People were so friendly. And when people would say, how are you? It wasn't like that. There's a phrase, how are you? Good, you? Good, and you? You hear it so many times. Good. The good and you gets rolled together so much it almost sounds like a new word.
Yeah.
And nobody means what they say, and nobody asks because they actually want to know. It's just a phrase that they have to say because, this is what we do. You're in the register, whatever. But like when people asked at that point, there was a marked difference. But how are you?
Yeah.
We're holding up. We've been going to this church over here, and there was a lot of talk of religion. There was a lot of talk of people were pulling together, and people seemed to genuinely care for each other. And I remember seeing it like slowly like diving off. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it took really that long. I feel like when it got close to Christmas time, there was the rush and the cutthroatness of people around the holidays. And it was so like, I remember feeling like so kind of depressed about it, because I really wanted people to just keep loving each other from that point forward. And I didn't realize that was going to, die off.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know if I want to say that. Even if we had an alien invasion, that would unite us. But again, it would have to be an occasion of violence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, Reagan brought that up. He said that about on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Maybe we'd all get along if we had to. But it's like, what does that say about humanity? That, like, when we come up with a scenario that binds us all together,
it has to be violence.
It's aliens acting like humans. It's aliens acting like humans, and then the humans have to come together and act like humans together against the alien.
Okay.
So that once we take out the alien who acts like a human, we could then act like humans against each other again after pieces of stone.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be united under.
Otherwise known as we're doomed. That's what it's like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think that, being right. And that maybe that's, obviously the message of Jesus is a message of love ultimately, and loving your neighbor. And that's not like we have to bind together to fight the enemy. It's like,
you got to bind together to fight the enemy, and the enemy is yourself. The enemy is your own sinful nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, think if everybody, this is the thing, like, this is what I said about Jesus. Like, he's got a philosophy, but it's massively pragmatic, because it's take care of your own problems. Like, for example, if we were just to apply when Jesus says, how can you speak about the peck in your brother's eye when you have a whole plank in your eye?
Or splinter and big log.
And then Jesus says, first take out the plank, then you can help your brother with the splinter. Now, if you put that template on top of the current Russia-Ukraine situation, what's the posture of America?
Yeah, we got to take the log out.
Well, we've invaded a bunch of countries. We're still in there.
Yep.
So here's what we're going to do, Russia. We're going to pull all of our guys back to show you that this is wrong. And then we're going to pull NATO back because Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And we told Gorbachev we were not going to expand eastward. Okay. We would literally not have war. But here we are. Here we are. So, I don't know. It's fascinating, fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
That course was probably the weirdest course I've heard in a while. Because it kind of came like, almost like in the middle of a sentence. Like, thank God for the It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. What do you got?
8.7.
Solid 9 there. That solo was badass. He's picking. I don't know if he's curating the solos on purpose, but the solos here have been pretty good. All right, dear listener, we are coming right back for you. We have more music left. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. All right, you dumb butts. Next song coming out. Commercial break. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. The time has arrived for us to listen to the mighty Sting.
Yes. The name of the song is Russians. Woo.
Literally, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's literally named. It's named Russians, y'all. No bullshit. Okay, Sting Russians, DJ'd by the big homie Savant Toston. Okay, let's do it. If I can find it, hold on. Where'd you go, Sting? Talk to the people.
Okay. Oh no, let me pull up the stream. Yep, that's the next song. And if you see this guy in the corner, that's supposed to represent us, all of us, thinking through this stream and the dilemmas he's putting us in.
The worst thing is that we're still dealing with shit from the 80s.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing.
How encouraging.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth. Welcome to Earth, bitches.
Yep. Oh, okay, here we go. I'm pulling them up. Oh, wait. Have we listened to Sting recently? We haven't,
Sting?
right?
No.
No, but that guy's face, it looks very familiar. The album cover. All right. I have the comment section now. Oh. Okay, so Steven says if I guess he means atomic bomb goes off, you have 20 minutes to get as far away as possible in the opposite direction to the wind. After the fallout comes down, and that's what kills most people. Yeah. Yikes. 20 minutes.
Good.
Oh, he's the main guy in the band, The Police?
Sting?
Oh, the guy on the album cover.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay. Only the most excellent 16 are present. Yeah, we have to shoot that commercial.
Here we go. Sting. The time has arrived.
Ready?
Russians,
Let's
apparently,
go.
is the name of the song. Let's do it. It sounds ominous.
Nerve-wracking.
Holy shit.
Europe and America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats and the rhetorical speeches of the soul.
Wow.
You know, sometimes, you know, when I talk about like the Russia hoax, the Russia collusion thing,
Yep.
I hope by now everybody pretty much has come to the conclusion that all the Russia stuff with Trump was all nonsense. I hope by now everybody realizes that. But it's funny because I'd shoot a Middle America commercial, you know, episode about it, and of course you get people angry, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I'd say things like, you do realize there's probably hundreds of thousands of Russian nationals here that contribute to our country and all the rest of it. How do you think that's falling on their ears when their country is constantly being villainized?
Yeah.
You don't think that?
Yeah.
And I started getting comments, emails, people be like, thank you so much.
Oh, really? Oh, you
yeah.
didn't tell me that. Oh,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, it was a thing. Like, it happens every single time. And that was during the Trump administration. But like all this Russophobic language, it's insane. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about, you know, tennis players can't play tennis. I mean, it's just insane stuff. Like they have to go and denounce their country.
Yeah.
They've got to go through
I
all
didn't
these
think of
loyalty tests in order to compete. It's like ridiculous. Like, okay, so then all during the Iraq invasion, our athletes never had to decry their own country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the middle of, you
Yeah.
know, it's like I am really trying very hard to understand people in this whole.
Mm-hmm.
I got like one friend on the channel, friend of me, whatever. I consider her a friend. Like she says she's Polish and she's got some background to where I can understand the hostility toward Russia. You see what I'm saying? Because of, you know, certain historical situations.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
So I get that, but then there's the entire, and I understand, like, people hated Trump so much that they were willing to sacrifice any and everything to get at it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it meant demonizing an entire population of people, then fine. But I just think that we were so preconditioned to think evil of this group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for 4 years because of people's political agenda. It's now at the point where it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, go ahead, keep going.
Well, I thought that this was interesting. This is on Genius. Well, I'll push it out over after. Russians, the fourth single from the Dream of the Blue Turtles, reached the top 30 in 9 countries, including
This song did?
a number 116 US and a number 12 in the UK peak. It remained its highest charting UK single until 1994. Sting was inspired to write Russians during the Cold War after watching a pirated satellite Russian broadcast of Russian children's television programming and realizing Russians love their children just as we do. Its melody is based on Lieutenant Kazhi Suite by Russian composer Prokofiev. Sting originally wanted to record it in Russia, but politics didn't allow him to. He made it clear in 1985 that it's not a pro-Soviet song, it's pro-children. The track resurfaced to public attention again in March of 2022, so just recently, when the British singer himself performed it in an Instagram video he uploaded in response to the violent escalation of the Russia-Ukrainian war, as troops from the former country, as well as Belarus, invaded the latter.
Yeah. But here we are. But notice how he had to clarify that he's not pro-Soviet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, anytime you say anything nice about those people, you're going to say, well, hold on, I hate them. They're terrible. But it's unbelievable to me. It's bananas to me. I didn't know that.
But I like that he was saying, like, it's because people get so caught up in the politics that they would miss the meaning of the song. And when he says it's pro-children, like, that's something we can all agree on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, most of us can agree that once a child is born, we should let them live. You know?
Well, I don't know.
I said most of us.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And it's certainly our own children. You know, that's so weird. The baby was like, goof. when I said that.
Oh, he punched you?
Yes. Or kicked. I don't know. So yeah, that I don't know, it's a very emotional topic. It's interesting because the last song I was talking about how seeing, having a mixed child now, when I see the Palestinian stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
And so I think that, children, I don't know. I mean, does anybody want to see children hurting, crying?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, but to Amy's point, he needed a TV show to know that the Russians love their kids.
no, he didn't need a TV show to know that Russians love their kids.
I think some
But-
Americans really would need a TV show to know that. I believe there's some Americans that have such a crazy view of the Russians that
maybe.
they don't believe that they
I
care
think
about
it's
their kids.
more of the TV show brought it to his attention. Like, there's so many things that you can just forget about, and then when it's brought to your attention, you're like, oh yeah. It's not like, I don't think that he thought they hated their children. Oh, Russians are just hard people. They all hate their kids. I think it's just seeing that he was able to relate to it, where the other stuff maybe it was unrelatable to him. And that's the thing. For some reason, we have to be able to relate to something before we actually move on something.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree a little bit with Amy that it was a bit condescending, but
Condescending?
well, yeah, it's like, oh, the Russian, good on the Russians. It's kind of like a head pat to the Russians. Like, it is kind of insulting that thought crossed his mind when he saw the show. Like, I get what you're saying, but to me, it's still like I said, I believe that Americans and most Westerners are so propagandized that they would need that as a reminder. I know it's silly, I know it's crazy, but I do believe that there are people that are that propagandized in our country because, I mean, when I hear folks talk, man, it's
I think the reason
unbelievable.
I'm saying it is because, so when I sat down, this was actually about the Gaza Strip, and it was a family, and they were being interviewed, and the father was saying how food was coming in, but it was being rationed to the degree that people were getting the bare minimum of what they could survive on. And so that night, his family was having condiments, like pickles. That was the most solid thing they had that night. It was like pickles and ketchup, I think, and that's what they were eating. And I was watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really sad. But then the next night, when I went to get food for my kids, and I was feeding them, and I kept saying, I was thinking to myself, well, that's not really enough. Let me go get them some more stuff. Let me get them some blueberries. Let me get them some, and I was giving them such a variety of goodness. I remembered back to that documentary, and I said to myself, oh my gosh, that father feels for his kids like I feel for mine, which means that was extremely painful for him. You didn't see the pain so much, but when you understand how much you love your own kids, and then you say, well, they love their kids the same way, then it's easier to see how much pain they're in. I don't necessarily think it's condescending, but you may not feel that way because you kind of have like this, you've seen a lot places, so your mind is more broadened to those things where I've only been the smaller areas too. So for me, it took thought that, wait a minute, they feel for their kids like I do for mine. And so now when I see something horrible, I think to myself, how would I feel if that was my kid in that situation? And then I feel like I have a more proper response.
Yeah, but and let me know, guys, if my mic is still echoing. But to Dustin's point, in the 80s, a lot of people were told that Russian kids were being trained as soldiers from a young age. We didn't know they had real childhoods.
Oh, I bet
That's what I'm saying. Like the propaganda, and he's an 80s kid. So imagine what it was like for 70s and mid 60s, early 70s. They got. That's what I'm saying. Like it's been a dehumanization project.
And I mean, I will say, when I went to Latvia, a lot of those kids were very hard. They were very hard. And there was one little girl that was like very outgoing, blah blah blah. And I said, wow, she's very friendly, And I meant compared to the other kids, but I didn't say it. And the mother said, oh yes, she said, I'm giving my child an American upbringing, and I want her to have an American outlook on life. And I said, well, what does that mean? And she said that she didn't want her to grow up. She wanted her to have like a positive outlook on life. And so she kept it really like, you know how like, I don't necessarily agree with all of American parenting, but you know, like when you tell your kid you can do anything, even if they're like, you know, you know what I mean? Like that's what she was talking about, and that's what she was doing with her little girl was all, woo, you know, where, you know, we don't necessarily do that with our kids. We don't lie to them about what they're capable of. Like, you know, one kid is way more athletic. There's another kid. One of our kids is full of heart, but he's really not very athletic at all. He's very klutzy. You know what I mean? So when he says, "Oh, I'm gonna join the NFL," then, well, I mean.
So what does that have to do with being American or Russian?
No, I'm
the
just
Russian
saying.
Kid was raised to believe.
When he said that, you know, what people thought about the Russian upbringing, you know, Latvia is right by Russia, and I was just saying, from my experience, a lot of the kids that I met there, and a lot of the people seemed very. Of course, maybe kids I don't think would be. Kids were more like, oh, an American. But even still, the kids were, you know, colder and less friendly and not like smiling. Like, you know how if you go out to the store and a parent is busy and you kind of like wave at a kid or you make a little face, they'll laugh.
Yeah.
Those kids didn't do it. And maybe it was just the area that I was in. But I'm just saying I could see how people would maybe think, well, I mean, they're Russian kids. I mean, they're harder. You know what I mean? Like, I could see how people like that.
hard times make for hard people, but again, the way that people were propagandized to think about Russians, particularly Russian parents in regards to their children, is that they were just grooming them for the empire, grooming them for the Soviet, you know, New World Order, blah, blah, blah. So they were not humanized. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were just looked upon like, oh, they're just grooming them because that's all they do. All they know is war. All they know is power. That type of thing.
They did the same thing with the Islamic kids.
Oh,
100%.
Muslim kids, exact same thing.
They had guns at 7 years old,
Yep.
big guns,
Yep.
and they put out the pictures of it and stuff.
Exact same thing, right. And then so one kid becomes a suicide bomber at 16 in Tel Aviv. That means all of them are, you know...
Yeah, and I remember
teenage
thinking...
suicide bombers.
When you would hear, well, they blew this up and some kids died and stuff, I remember thinking, well, I mean, what are the soldiers supposed to do? Let these kids run up to them? Remember that whole story of the kid with the bowl of rice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, horrible shit. So that's why I'm like, the more I look into this and the more I think about our country's past, I'm like, this game that the media played, demonizing all of Russia because they wanted to regain power from Trump, was so evil. Yeah, it was so terrible because now you've got a whole group of people be completely dehumanized.
Yeah.
And you can be brazenly and openly Russophobic, racist, whatever you want to call it, but nobody stops to think, shit, what would it have been like to have been a person of Russian heritage the last 4 or 5 years, watching your country every single day get, you know, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's valid for sure.
All right, what do you get the song?
I really like this one. 9.3.
I didn't know the homie could sing like that.
Yeah, he sings really good.
Really sing.
What did you give it?
I'm gonna give it a solid 9.4.
Oh, we came really
I've been
close
really
to
wanting to
same score.
give these really
Yeah.
difficult ratings, but that sound was crazy.
Have no fear, the street.
It's funny. I almost went with the silent count as well for
yeah.
this song.
I can see how that's fitting. Yeah.
Terrible stuff. Anyway,
I was gonna say, have no fear, the stream's not over. We got one more song left, and it's Megadeth. Peace sells.
Vin out.
We already did that one.
Vin out.
Oh, 7 Dusted. Oh, Sori out.
Go.
Give it an 11. 7 Dusted gave it an 11.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, looks like a classic song. I'm not going to fool around with this mic too much right now, guys, but is it still echoey? Type 25 if it's still echoey. If it's not still echoey, then I've solved the problem. I don't know what the hell happened to my shit. I'm so mad.
River.
What did River say?
Wait, we're already out of songs?
All right.
I missed the whole thing.
Type,
There's one more.
All right, what
One
about
more.
22? Type 22 if I'm not echoey. What about now? Type 22 if I am not echoey now.
It echoed when you tapped the mic.
That thing's on mute. Son of a bitch.
It was fine, then you touched it.
Commercial break. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch. Oh, you're using mine still?
Yeah, I have to.
Okay. Last song on our stream for the Big Homie 7 is a Megadeth song called Rust in Peace, Polaris.
Polaris. Not Polaris. What's wrong with you?
Whatever.
Megadeth. Polaris. Let's do it.
It's doing it again.
Let's go.
Getting heavy.
Let's go.
Eradication of Earth's population loss. Polaris. Eradication of Earth's population loss. Polaris. Eradication of Earth's population loss. Polaris. Eradication of Earth's population loss. Polaris.
Jeez.
Gosh.
Good lord. And he's got that signature Dave Mustaine, like, I'm just gonna do. I am going to copy it.
Do it. Because I gotta lean over here, so it's kind of weird.
Tremble, you weaklings, cower in fear on your ruler. Somebody was saying, like, why is metal? Metal seems to be a musical genre that's fitted to political commentary. People were saying, why?
Yeah, I think it's so weird. I literally would have never in a million years guessed there would be so much political discussion when we were gonna do these these songs. I have okay.
Go.
My theory is that, you know, people that are inclined toward metal or rock, they're also bent on like rebellion and kind of like, we're not with the system. So I think that when you see stuff outside of the system so easily, then it goes into the political realm and it goes into all of it. Like when you're a kid, it's like, you know, F what your parents want. We're going to play this hard music. But then I think as you grow, you start seeing, because now you're in the political realm and you're doing the voting and, you know, you're seeing how things affect other things. And so I think that's just inevitably what happens. And I think that I feel like that I've never felt like okay, so before this channel, if somebody said, what type of people would you say metal people were? I would have been like, oh, they probably have like lots of tattoos, black hair, kind of stringy. I would have thought that they were more like stoners, actually, not like very much inclined to like political discussion. Like not necessarily not inclined to it, but not okay. Ooh. Basically, what I'm saying is, you know, and I'm a huge fan of stoners, but like, so let's just put that to the side. So
I'm a huge fan of stoners.
Strike that from the record. Strike that from the record.
God.
I just would have thought that like people that were like into metal and stuff wouldn't be like very smart. That's what I would have thought. But anytime that we've ever had any discussions with people, I find them to be a community. I find this community to be like thinkers, and we don't necessarily all come to the same conclusions, but definitely people have kind of thought out what they're going to do, and they'll argue it, whether they're right or they're wrong, they'll argue. So so it's kind of like a, you know, I don't know, I feel like it's like a more like woken up community as far as like what's going on globally, what's going on, what are the effects of this or that thing, and okay to say, you know, we disagree with what everybody else is saying.
Yeah. The other thing too is,
what was that Queen one? What was the one? remember that one? It wasn't like Queen wasn't the song. It was Sex Pistols did a song about the Queen.
God Save the Queen.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that one. That one was so shocking to me.
I was like, were people allowed to say that about the
Yeah,
Queen?
I was very surprised. We know people say stuff about our president. I went to get gas today, and like there was a Biden sticker.
People are smart.
To be honest with you, this is my community, but I don't find church people to be very smart, and I don't find them to be very thought out. Like, I don't feel like that they think through things. And I feel like that because a lot of them are kind of within their same circle, it's an echo chamber. And you're not encouraged to be open-minded because, like, specifically at the college that I went to, they said, you know, people are going to tell you should be more open-minded. And then they were like, you shouldn't just open your mind up and let everything in. Like, you should be closed-minded. You should have, like, you know, your bearings about you. And I was like, oh, okay. I know that there were a lot of the people that I kind of grew up around were afraid, and their fear made it so that way they weren't very open-minded, and they didn't think through stuff, and they weren't able to really give an answer to stuff that didn't make sense when it was brought up against something else. Conversation just got shut down. So, I mean, no. Oh, the sticker. Yeah, Middle Earth. So I went to get gas, and there was a Biden sticker, and it was pointing at the amount of the sale, and it was like, that's me. I did that. I was like, oh no.
Putin price hike.
Yeah.
The Putin price hike.
But as I was laughing, you know, a little bit at Biden in the face he was making, and then just kind of like thinking of all the things that he's done, I get back into my car and I realized I gassed up the car with the car running.
You could have had us killed.
I could have blown. Sayla was in the car with me. It would have been me, Sayla, the baby. Would have blown. As I'm looking at this Biden sticker, wow, but look at Biden. Oh, the baby brain. Anyway.
I rule on land, air, and sea. I pass judgment on humanity.
Oh, I thought it said all humanity. Yeah, but still.
Winds blow from the bowels of hell. Will we give warning? Only time will tell. Satan rears his ugly head to spit into the wind. That's a crazy line, to spit into the wind. Right? Because that's the whole thing where you spit into the wind and then it hits you, the blowback. So it's it looks to me like that stanza is about the United States.
Yeah, you're probably right, yeah.
Right? We rule land, air, and sea. And we passed it. It's hilarious to me, like, people are going to get mad and I don't care. It's amazing to me that the U.S. really believes that they have the moral right to tell another nation they can't invade. It's mind-boggling to me that we believe that we can pass that kind of judgment against another country when they have way more bullet points for their argument than we did. But America just believes that we could just pass all this judgment against all humanity. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, we get enabled by these countries. Like the Europeans.
Yeah, so we don't realize how crazy it is.
Yeah, the Europeans are enabling this nonsense. They're going along with this nonsense. So now they're gonna go from buying from Russia to buying from us. You know, in a clip of 50% or whatever it is. I mean, it's just. This whole
this is working out strangely in our favor.
It's vassalized the entire European continent almost to the United States now. It's like it's unbelievable to me. It's mind-boggling. It's like they're just this great enabler of U.S. interests.
Weird.
So it's almost impossible if you're an American not to have this kind of crazy, like, I've known people that have done, work for, alphabet companies or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had to sit down one time. This guy, he told me, he said, listen, Vin, it is better for the world that we rule it. The guy literally told me that. He's like, I was like, oh, like that dude from 300. You will find that I am kind.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so I was literally just talking to somebody about American, like, colonization and how that had its impact in, like, missions work.
Yeah.
And how, he hasn't really agreed with missions work for like literally years. And that was one of the major issues he had with it, is that Americans go in there and they're not just trying to be like, just like give you the gospel, you know what I mean, to save your soul, but they're like, also you should wear button-up shirts, also you should cut your hair, also you should look very American. So yeah, it's like that's affected so much of how we think. Yeah.
Laos is still clearing.
Middle Earth said he did that sticker.
Laos is still clearing USA bombs 52 years later.
What?
Like it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. Angela Merkel would have said no to Biden. Duh. I agree. Bomb shelters filled to the brim. Survival, such a silly whim. World leaders sell missiles cheap. Your stomach chards, your flesh creeps. What would you do if one of those emergency broadcasts came in? They said, "Hey, there's a nuke coming. God bless you, but there's a nuke that's inbound 2 minutes from your location." What would you do?
2 minutes.
What would you do?
Oh my God, our kids don't move fast enough.
Honey, if we were 2 minutes out, that'd be it. We're done.
Yeah, I know, but even if we had, like, let's say you had 15 minutes, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, literally, if it was 2 minutes out and there was nothing we could do, I would just get all together. I wouldn't tell the kids what was happening.
You wouldn't?
No.
I'd tell them.
Why would you do that?
Let them prepare their soul to meet the Lord. What do you mean?
Oh, I guess.
Are you kidding me? I'd be like, listen, we're about 5 minutes away from seeing if any of this shit is real or not.
Well, you know what? That's kind of okay. So I guess what I would do, my thing is, I wouldn't want them to be in a panic right before they die. I'd want to be able to like enjoy those last few moments. But that's kind of a silly thing if you actually believe there's a life after death. So there's going to be no separation. We're going to be together now. We're going to be together after. So yeah, you might as well let them prepare.
Yeah.
I just feel like Dorian would be like.
Dorian would look at me and say, "Father, how do we get out of this?" That's what he'd say.
I feel like he would be in more of a panic mode.
I don't know. I think if it's one of those things where the entire group is going to die all at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, maybe there would be mass hysteria. I'm not sure, because people don't spend a lot of but you know who I think would handle it really well would actually be metalheads. I really, really feel that way, just because we've been singing about chemical warfare and nuclear warfare and
death and destruction,
apocalyptic hellscapes for millennia. So like, I feel like metalheads are prepared for that kind of eventuality.
Yeah, they probably, they just grab their guitars.
I would
start playing as it made its way in.
I'd probably call up 7. I'd get 7 and
in 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
How are you gonna tell the kids what's doing? You're so. That's such baloney.
I can multitask.
You're gonna tell the kids what's going on and keep them in a calm state. Prepare your own wicked soul.
I'm not worried about them being in a calm state. Like, I don't, let them work it out. Let them do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for me to say they should be in a calm state. I hope I would be in a calm state. Like, people say, "Oh, face death." I mean, I don't know if I've faced death, but I've been in situations where I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
And I've done that fire drill a couple times, so I don't have a problem if they were freaking out. But like, again, these are questions Americans never ask themselves.
Yeah.
We didn't, once we got out of the Cold War,
yeah, that's so funny.
We stopped asking ourselves those questions or having to deal with those eventualities.
That's funny.
But there are countries all around the world who still have to ask that question.
Yeah, because when you said it, I imagined it's the end of the world. Not that just we're getting hit.
Right.
That's so weird.
Right.
We're very,
Yeah. Amy says, just sing Hare Krishna. Haribo!
Well, listen, if that's the way that if you change religions at the last second like that, boy. Oh, man. I remember at one point I was like, I wonder if I should just kind of put all my irons in all the fires. You know what I mean? Just in case. What if Buddhism is true? And then like, that's when I really got faced with the question where Jesus said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and any man that comes to the Father, no man comes to the Father but by me."
Yeah.
And like, that's he says you can't have your your irons in all the fires. It's mine or it's nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, shoot. So I can put my I can go into all these religions or just that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if there really was one true religion. That is something it would say.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I
How are you going to be a whole religion and be like, yeah, just do our thing, but you can do that thing too?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Well, he paid a pretty heavy price.
Yeah.
To open the door for everybody else. That's my problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty terrible price. If there are other ways to do it, then you should have done it another way, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fascinating question, you know, like seven would, you know, you'd get around your family, you know, you'd love on your family, you'd do whatever you could for your family, and reach out to your friends or whatever, and then boom, it's a white flash, it's over. It's over. But
I feel like you'd go standing.
Cool.
I'd be sitting on the couch holding one of the two babies.
You know what though? This is gonna come off the wrong way, but if that really was announced and it was really, I would be so excited. I would be like so. If all of us were gonna die at the same time.
I don't want to sound like a psychopath, but I remember like when my uncle was dying of cancer, and I remember feeling like fucking jealous of him. I'm like, man, he's going to the other side now. He doesn't have to deal with all this. But I calmed myself with the idea that one day I might be able to get married and have children.
No, I would just be like, because I believe in this shit like so much, like to the core.
Oh yeah.
And like, what that ride is gonna be like would be pretty. I imagine that all the time, like.
I don't anymore. I used to,
consciousness outside of your body, all that type of shit. Like, it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Dustin, I'd be at a window watching till I got blind.
Yeah, real Christian talk. Death envy.
Death envy. That's so sick.
It's Nietzsche. It's not death envy though.
No, it's life envy.
It's
envy because we believe that after you die, you live, and you live more than you've ever loved. Well, that's both.
Yeah.
You will live and love more than you ever had before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
So smoke them if you got them, Nukes.
Smoke them if you got them. Stop
That's the moral of the story. Smoke. Hey, smoke them if you got them.
But not if you're pregnant. Don't smoke.
Well, I mean, look, if you're pregnant but a nuke is coming down, smoke them if you get them. The kid deserves to at least go out in an altered state of consciousness.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you could do some DMT. This is a 9.5 for me.
9.1.
9.1 you said?
Yeah. What's above 1 then Sori? What? Well, I don't know what that means, AT. But no, the Russian flag is still up in our front window.
If there's a God, he wouldn't judge people of faith, no matter who they worship. Elitist Christians, says Amy, who knows the mind of the Most High. I see what you're saying. Amy, but I don't think it's a judgment based on faith as much as it is a confirmation of a relationship status. So I don't think it's going to be you missed an answer on the multiple choice question, so you're out of here.
Yeah.
It's going to be, hey, I presented myself to you for your entire life. I made myself available. You've communicated clearly over X amount of years.
I sacrificed my son.
That you don't want anything to do with me, so I'm going to grant you your wish, and you can go in an area of the universe where I will not be. And we call that hell. I don't know what people there would call it. Who knows? But there's that.
Yeah.
But I definitely see the point, though, because on surface level, especially the way evangelicals talk about it, makes a lot of sense.
AT, we went to my sister's house for Easter. And when we came back, our front door was friggin' wide open. And I was like, it's that fucking Russian flag. I told the kids, I'm like, stay in the car. And Vin went in there. He checked around. I think that somebody didn't shut the door properly. So it popped open after we left.
They don't want any smoke with Vincent. Come on.
You know what I did? This is so bad. So when you were in there going around, I wanted to see, like, what if there was a legit emergency and I needed one of the kids to make a phone call? So I said, Dorian, hurry up and call 911. And he goes, oh, really? For real? For real? I'm like, that you were supposed to just immediately make the call. You failed!
Holy shit.
Oh, man.
What a stream by 7 Dustin. This is a pretty... what a disturbing stream this was.
Seriously? That's why he gave us this thinking man.
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna be like this all night.
Yeah. The Evangelical Library of London has loads of leaflets about the fires of hell. Unbelievable. Wow. Of all the things to focus on, it's the fires of hell.
Oh my
Ridiculous.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but what a disturbing stream.
I know.
Like, you know, he's pointing out all the fears that we had in the 80s and the parallels and stuff like that, but it's like, it really skipped a generation. Our parents, they didn't have to worry about the Russia shit because we had boomer parents, and now here we are. Like, this shit is, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. I mean, I believe we're going to figure it out, but that doesn't mean that America won't go up in a nuclear, you know. I mean, as Americans, I can't imagine it, but who knows?
Humphrey, send us an email, vinandsori@gmail.com, and you can get all the details there.
Yeah, I mean, good God. Seven's at the window watching until we all go blind.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be excited. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that we're not going to get
that the hypothetical's not happening.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed about that. I'm not going to lie, but it's okay.
Yeah, but I just
what?
No.
Well, obviously.
I just love like the way that, you know, like I was outside today. There are all the kids around me. I had, you know, Dorian was on one computer working on some thumbnails. Selah was helping one of the babies. Zoe was watching the babies. Johan was doing some raking. Everybody was out there. We were all going around together. The babies were, you know, arguing and playing. And I got this another little one on the way. It's just like,
what about an
seriously, you know what I want to do? I keep telling Vin this, and I can't friggin' get it out of my head. And I wish that there was a way to like do this now. Like, get one of those Winnebagos and load up everybody and just go driving around for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you keep talking about the Winnebago.
I just want to do it so badly. Anyway, we've got things to do. Eventually, one day we'll be able to do that. Not today. Not today.
There you are.
I'll probably die before it happens. Vin hates it when I say stuff like that, but I couldn't help it.
Well, actually, you could have helped it. You actually could have.
I couldn't. I've been working all day. I needed an escape.
Horrible individual.
Okay. Okay, you guys. Well, have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow we have another stream. It's starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes,
so
sir.
be there
Yes,
or be
sir.
square. And then the next night we have a Sin and Glory stream, which I'm not sure the details on the time. And the day after that is somebody's birthday. A very important person.
There you are, dear listener. So we've got more content coming your way.